I could just picture Hillary busting in on old Bill with 6 of cabinet members in the hot tub. Bill, you know we have paperwork to go.
The 6 presidents I want a jacuzzi with are JFK, Teddy Roosevelt, American President Michael Douglas, Deep Impact Morgan Freeman, Bill Pullman from Independence Day, and President Kate Upton, who was recently elected in a little short story I'm working on.
On April 14, 1865, John Wilkes Booth shot and killed President Abraham Lincoln. He instantly became one of the most notorious villains in American history.
All right, yeah, we get it. The guy does one bad thing. We're just gonna discount everything else he did because he shot one icon, one bastion of liberty and freedom and hope, maybe the most important American to ever live, and we're just gonna focus on that.
Have you been to the theater? I wish someone put a bullet in my head some of the plays I've had to watch.
I think John Wilkes Booth was just looking out for Lincoln. I mean, look at how popular he is now that he was assassinated. It's amazing. Daniel Day-Lewis is currently portraying him in the movies. If Booth hadn't have killed Abraham Lincoln, I mean, like, who's gonna play Abraham Lincoln? Like, Charlie Sheen? I mean, no thanks.
Booth actually came from a family of famous actors. His brother Edwin was so celebrated, there is still a statue of him in New York City's Gramercy Park.
His brother's fame was so large that when his kid brother killed the president, it still didn't really hurt his career. That's how famous and good of an actor people in the Booth family were.
While Booth was well known for his acting, it was his charming good looks that garnered the most attention.
Booth at the time was considered one of the best-looking men in America, and Lincoln, as we all know, was not. I'm not trying to say that Lincoln was ugly, but when Mary Todd went to visit him and was told he was shot in the face, she said, "Where?"
Honestly, John Wilkes Booth, yes, he was handsome, but let's simmer down a little bit here. I mean, back then, being alive was attractive. This was a time when the word handsome was also used to refer to women and cattle.
Throughout American history, the White House has been home to plenty of dogs. And we're not talking about the first pet.
From Jefferson to JFK to Bill Clinton, presidential affairs are as American as apple pie, eaten off the naked body of an intern.
Franklin Delano Roosevelt had affairs with at least 3 women. But it was his wife Eleanor's relationship with journalist Lorena Hickok that everyone was buzzing about.
I wonder what FDR thought. He was probably just like, "Eleanor, how could you not invite me in to watch?"
Eleanor even wrote steamy letters to her girlfriend, once saying, "I want to put my arms around you and kiss you at the corner of your mouth."
Kiss the corner of your mouth? Ugh, that's the most crusty part.
Between 1942 and 1945, Dwight Eisenhower cheated on his wife Mamie with his chauffeur and secretary, Kay Summersby.
What is a chauffeur-secretary combo? His wife should have known something was going on.
Okay, I don't blame Dwight for cheating on Mamie with Kay. I mean, here's Kay, and here's Mamie.
Mamie Eisenhower had Princess Leia Danish poofs in a Caesar cut. Not sexy. Make you want a chauffeur.
Our 29th president, Warren Harding, was a notorious cheater, once having sex with a campaign volunteer in an Oval Office closet.
Oh.
Dude, you're president of the United States. Go big, man. Have sex in like the nuclear fallout shelter or on Washington's forehead at Mount Rushmore.
Warren G. Harding? More like Warren G. Hard-on. I'm sorry, I'll go. Sorry.
Allegedly, Harding was even blackmailed by Carrie Phillips during the 1920 election and was forced to give her $50,000 and send her on an extended tour of Japan.
So after he sent his mistress to Japan, I wonder his first order of business as president was just, hey, we should just bomb Japan, right? Let's just do that, like today. You want to do that today? Is there a button somewhere?
Inauguration Day is when the president and vice president can set the tone for their new administration. Given the first impression these leaders made, they were in trouble right from the start.
Everyone gets excited when the new boss comes in, but then you're like, hey, wait a minute, this guy's a head too.
In 1865, vice presidential lightweight Andrew Johnson showed up to Abraham Lincoln's second inauguration drunk on whiskey. His speech was so incoherent, he had to be pulled off the podium by his coattails.
Dude, the VP's hammered. Let's play a game. Anytime he says ye old anything, we do a shot.
Did you guys know about the railroad? That was my idea. I don't even want to be here anyway. This city's in a swamp.
In 1841, the 9th president, William Henry Harrison, gave the longest inaugural speech in American history, rambling for over 2 hours. Despite a cold rain, he refused to wear a coat. 32 days later, he died of pneumonia.
William Henry Harrison gave a 2-hour speech, man. That was longer than his administration.
He was murdered by rain. Only 2 things have ever been murdered by rain. This dummy and sugar.
The people can't know I get cold. I'm their leader now. Throat's feeling weird. Anyway, onward.
The biggest Inauguration Day buzzkill had to be President Richard Nixon in 1973. Tricky Dick decided he didn't want pigeons to ruin the ceremonies, so he had trees along the parade route treated with a chemical repellent. Except birds were actually attracted to the highly toxic substance. So much so that they ate it and started dropping dead during the presidential procession.
Dead pigeons on the parade route? Par for the course for Nixon. So Nixon.
Oh, he's probably trying to ignore it at first. He's like, so my first act in office will be, oh man, look at that. A couple birds falling out of the sky. It's fine, don't pay any attention to that. And, oh geez, it's getting heavy out here.
Before leaving office in 1837, President Andrew Jackson had to get rid of a 1,400-pound block of cheese he'd received as a gift. He opened the White House to the public, and 10,000 people showed up to help devour the cheese. It was a cheese party of epic proportions.
The city smelled like cheese after the party, which I think was a vast improvement from like horse poop, pig poop, people poop.
With that many people and that much cheese, you know there are some serious consequences the next day.
Oh man, that is the last time I ever mixed cheddar with Gouda and brie.
Man, I mean, I didn't even have one cracker. It was just all cheese all the time. Oh, God.
Hey, Jackson was on fire last night. Did you hear him? Every time he walked around, just going, who cut the cheese? Who cut the cheese? It was great.
There's a whole second term of presidential history still to come. Up next, discover what world leader FDR shared a wiener with, and how to pick up babes the Grover Cleveland way, when I Love the 1880s returns. Welcome back to I Love the 1880s, getting to know the presidents who set the worst precedents. As one of America's most beloved presidents, Franklin Roosevelt was elected 4 times starting in 1933, the most of any U.S. president. Serving a total of 12 years, he was the closest thing we had to a monarch, and it was good to be king.
FDR gets away with anything he wants because he's been in office for so long. Also, you'd be pretty much a dick to tell a guy in a wheelchair that he can't do something.
Built in 1938 in Frederick County, Maryland, Camp David was originally a private retreat for government employees. But FDR saw it, liked it, and took it over in 1942. He called it Shangri-La.
At least he could have called it like Camp Heap or something, just to make everybody feel better.
FDR is like, this place is Shangri-La. For me, for you guys, it's get out. Don't make me come out from under this blanket.
That would be like if Obama went down to Disney World, thought it was fantastic, told nobody else they could go, and called it Awesome Barack Town.
In 1932, King George VI and Queen Elizabeth of England visited the U.S. for the first time. Roosevelt celebrated the occasion by serving them America's finest delicacy, hot dogs.
I mean, have you had English food? That's probably the finest thing they'd ever eaten at the time. A nice hot dog. Like, this isn't some kind of overcooked fish or horrific pie.
Look, the royals are here. Quick, get the lips and ass ready.
Later that same year, when Thanksgiving fell on November 30th, FDR used his executive privileges to move it up a week and allow more time for Christmas shopping. He hoped it would boost a weakened economy.
Who knew Roosevelt was such a dick?
People were kind of mad. The depression's going on, so it's like, what's shopping days? We're not shopping, dude. We're just hoarding apples. Okay?
I didn't know that was the president's job, to move holidays around. That seems like that could go to the vice president.
The change came with such short notice that people mocked the new holiday, calling it Franksgiving.
You know what Franksgiving sounds like to me? It sounds like something your sad, like, single uncle does. It's Franksgiving. Everyone come over to my one-bedroom apartment and we'll get drunk and we'll watch old family movies on Thanksgiving.
When your brother is president, even the most successful siblings can look like deadbeats in comparison. Bill Clinton's half-brother Roger earned the Secret Service codename Headache for his drinking and drugging escapades. Even more embarrassing than that, he starred in the 1996 flop Biodome.
Who's the most embarrassing brother in the movie Biodome? Is it Roger Clinton or is it Stephen Baldwin? The answer is Pauly Shore.
While Jimmy Carter was busy running the country in 1977, his brother Billy was allegedly having a drinking problem. Not only that, but he also hawked his own beer, Billy Beer. Each can came with the personal approval of Billy, one of America's all-time great beer drinkers.
Billy considers himself one of the great all-time beer drinkers. You know, there's like Norm from Cheers, Genghis Khan, Billy.
Even worse, in 1979, Billy caused a scandal by hosting a delegation of Libyans in Atlanta who were looking for new trade partners. While waiting for them to arrive, Billy was caught urinating on the tarmac at the airport.
Pissing off the press, pissing on them.
I feel like there's no greater concentration of restrooms than at the airport. Yet he had to go on the tarmac. I don't know, I think I like him for this.
You can really tell how the U.S. views other countries by who we send to meet their delegates. If we send the president's weird brother, get out.
Even one of our greatest presidents had a black sheep brother. President Lincoln's step-sibling, John D. Johnston, was a debt-ridden gambler who was always asking Honest Abe for money.
Of course the dude's name is John D. Johnston. He's either got to be a gambling addict or a porn star at that point.
I mean, there must have been some sibling rivalry there. You know, Abe Lincoln was probably like, I freed the slaves. What did you ever free?
Oh, I freed the slaves. I freed the slaves. Well, guess what? I got 2 slaves I'm gonna free. 1, 2, and they're coming at your face.
Barry and Michelle have no problem showing a little PDA, but they're just the last in a long line of romantics, some more hopeless than others. 37th President Richard Nixon's future wife, Pat, continued to see other men after the two met. Once, when Pat told Richard she had a date in the city, Nixon asked if he could still have her company by acting as a chauffeur.
So basically, Nixon likes to watch.
Do you think the drive home after those dates was awkward, you know? Like Nixon's driving. Oh, so he owns his own business, does he? Yeah, he drives a brand new Ford. Yeah, well, that's nice. Well, guess what? One day I'm gonna be president!
Calvin Coolidge proposed to his wife Grace in 1905 by saying, "I am going to be married to you."
That should be followed with a...
It's amazing. It's like a Jedi mind trick. I'm going to be married to you. Yes, I'm going to be married to you. I'm the man of your dreams. You're the man of my dreams. I'm gonna maybe get to try it Greek style. No.
In 1864, Grover Cleveland met his wife Frances at a baby shower. She was the baby. When Frances turned 11, her father died suddenly, and his good friend Grover became her legal guardian. 10 years later, the two married.
Note to self, if you're ever at a baby shower with Grover Cleveland and he calls dibs, he means it.
Maybe it's practical, I don't know. I've been out there. I've dated a lot of lunatics. Maybe this is the way to do it. You pick one and you grow it, like sea monkeys.
I can guarantee you this is not what her father had in mind when he told Grover, hey, if anything happens to me, take care of my daughter. And Grover was like, oh, I plan on it, homie.
We're not done dragging the nation's highest office down to our level. Coming up, forget swing voters. Find out what president might have swung both ways.
Boom, double whammy. He just called me a she-man.
And just how did LBJ get away with DUI? It's I Love the 1880s. Presidents Gone Wild. It's I Love the 1880s. The good, the bad, and the Taft. In 1796, Thomas Jefferson was elected vice president when he came in second place to John Adams. The former friends ran against each other a second time in 1800. This marked the first and only time that a sitting VP campaigned against his own boss. Needless to say, things got ugly.
I love the way they insulted people back then, because it went like real soft to really loud, you know? They'd be like,
I would have the good gentleman from Virginia remember that a snake slithers most silently in the grass.
Jefferson supporters in the press published that Adams was a rageful, lying, warmongering fellow who possessed, quote, a hideous hermaphroditical character.
Adams was probably like, listen, let's leave my hermaphroditic personal life out of this and just focus on the politics. Come on, guys.
At first, I'd have to look it up. And I think that's the beauty of that insult, is you get insulted twice. First, he says it to you, and it's insulting, but then you're not even sure. So you get your dictionary, and you're like, oh my God, boom, double whammy. He just called me a she-male.
Meanwhile, those partial to Adams warned that if Jefferson was elected, murder, robbery, rape, adultery, and incest will openly be taught and practiced.
Oh, murder, rape, and incest will be taught and practiced? Was this their platform for public schools?
I got a murder take-home exam, which is fine because you can use the book. Then I got my incest final and my arson final on the same day.
In the end, Jefferson won the election. He was helped by rumors spread in the press that John Adams sent his running mate to Europe to pick up 4 mistresses, 2 for each of them.
I kind of love that they chose 2. I mean, it's almost making the guy look like a stud. Like, this dude has such a voracious sexual appetite that he needs 2 women, imported women, by the way.
Last time I checked, that's something dudes high-five each other over. Great rumor.
Can you imagine what the presidential attack ads would have been like back then? They say you're only as good as the company you keep. Well, President John Adams is a good friend and confidant of Benjamin Franklin. And the father of electricity is a complete freak show on ice. Hookers, orgies, you name it. America, do you want your country to turn into a vicarious electrified gangbang? Declare your independence from perverts. I'm Thomas Jefferson, I'm handsome, and I approve this message.
Every president needs a hobby. Bill Clinton played sax, W golf. For President Obama, it's shooting hoops. 6th President John Quincy Adams, meanwhile, started every morning by dunking himself in the Potomac River. Nude.
I think I would have liked to have seen John Quincy Adams skinny dipping, you know, just to see if the carpet matches the mutton.
Aside from skinny dipping, he also enjoyed other presidential activities naked, like naked kissing babies on the old campaign trail, little naked throwing out the first pitch, always a big winner with the crowds.
When they weren't grappling with issues of the day, Presidents Washington, Lincoln, Taylor, Taft, and Theodore Roosevelt all enjoyed doing some good old-fashioned wrestling.
Just, you know, a lot of horseplay going on up in the White House. I don't think much work got done.
I think Taft would have been a great professional wrestler. Can you smell what the Taft is cooking? Well, whatever it is, I'm sure it's outrageously high in cholesterol.
Of course, all the presidents, they had their own special moves. Lincoln had the Emancipator, where he would take his huge gigantism hands and like box somebody's ears. Taft had the Tafter shock. That's when he would jump off the top rope and like just, you know, big sort of belly flop, totally wreck a dude.
36th President Lyndon Johnson preferred liquid relaxation. At his ranch, he allegedly threw back scotch and sodas, often behind the wheel of an amphibious car, which he'd drive into the lake without warning his passengers.